Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We are also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we talk about Bomberger's Precision Fine Grain, a new offering from Michter's, and the accolades it's already receiving. My name is Miss Beka Sue. Please join me in welcoming my co-host Steve Akeley, as well as our special guests, Darren McRoy, Nate Weiniger, and Luke Otero.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hey, y'all. Hey, everybody.
Hello. So yeah, we're going to be talking today about Bomberger's PFG and what's going on there. We'll get to that after the break. For right now, though, Darren said there's something we want to talk about. We're hoping it's better than what he talked about last time. So let's see what he's got.
No promises. So, before I even get into anything, this is going to be a little bit about gin. But I feel like whiskey drinkers' least favorite spirit, probably 60% of the time, is gin.
Okay.
I feel like it is a kind of universal thing. The flavors are off-putting, especially in some early gins that you taste, and like the ones that you can find on the shelf. Anything from London, I haven't enjoyed. But I've started dabbling a little bit. We have an awesome distillery here in town called Still 630 that like has a whole gin library. They have like the biggest of botanical gin library in the world. Yep. Actually, like people from Europe that make gin have flown over to see it.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of offerings there.
And so I've started trying some of their gins and a couple other gins, and I realize it's not as bad as everyone thinks. So I would like to know the other whiskey drinkers what you think of gin and how many gins you've actually had.
Okay.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, he's getting there. Kid's learning. So yeah.
Working on it. He's working on it. I have had a lot of gin. I was a big gin drinker for a while, actually. I really like dirty martinis with gin, except for I had to stop using gin because I get a little too crazy when I drink the gin. When they talk about gin and juice, it's not a fucking joke.
Right.
I used to just drink gin and tonic with a ton of limes in it, and boy, oh boy, always a good time.
You're not as bad as Winston, though. Remember what happens to Winston when he drinks gin?
I understand Winston's his problems with that because it definitely like gin can get you pretty easy. I think. I think all those botanicals they do something. But I've had some really shitty gins and I've had some really good gins. I personally really like Steve Beam's gin.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That one's really fantastic. And then another one I really like that's not readily available all the time, but it's more available to me than it is to you guys. But Molly Wellman's Cincinnati gin is really, really good. It's like really floral. And they make it from like botanicals that they get at the Cincinnati Botanical Garden. Mm-hmm. So it's cool. Just a really cool thing that Molly's put together. And
she's Molly Wellman. She can do anything.
She's Molly.
It's her damn
Wellman.
city.
Who's going to stop her? So she's going to the botanical garden. I'm going to get a couple of botanicals.
And they're like, "You're Molly Wellman. You're the second favorite,
right?
The third favorite Cincinnatian.
Right.
And the only ones above you are Joe Burrow and Fiona the Hippo. Like
Fiona the Hippo.
like you can do whatever the fuck you want. You're Molly Wellman.
Right.
And she killed that gin. It's really good. If you are in Cincinnati ever, find that gin because it's different than any other gin that I've had. Like just like all the floral notes to it are really pretty. And like I think that's what like a lot of mass made gin lacks is so much of it is just like juniper like punch to the face, where when they're actually like crafted gins, it's a pretty like drink. Like it's just it's like it's really, you know, you're kind of going through a garden when you're sipping on a gin if it's actually like well made gin.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Darren, I've got two favorite gins that I drink.
Okay.
And one of them is from Northern Kentucky. The New Riff gin is incredible.
Okay.
And so that's my American gin that I drink. And then there's one from Europe and from Spain in Galicia called Nordes, Nordes. And Beka, it's actually made from the Albarino grape, which is a white grape, and all the botanicals from that northwestern province. So it's got the sea influences and some high mountains, and that one is so freaking good. Yeah. Me and the War Department, when we got back from Spain, we probably went on a month of drinking nothing but the Northern gin and tonics. So, yeah. But Darren, if you're in your exploration stage, look for Northern, Nordes.
I have it written down.
Nordes.
You too, Beka.
Write it down.
I will look.
All right, she's on it. Nate, how about you, man? Where do you fall on gin?
Well, I'd say the younger years of Nate was at the clubs downtown with some Tangerine.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Bottle service, that was kind of the go-to,
course.
even before vodka. I mean, of the clear spirits, and it was not the greatest. I'm like Beka though. I would stuff it with limes.
Yeah, more limes the better. Like it just tasted good that way.
It did. So, but I my first honest real experience of like a very good gin was at Limestone Branch Distillery with Beam. Like Infante turned me onto that, and it was pretty good. Had a few others since. Even Castle and Key had one, I think, that I thought was pretty decent. But I'm down to try Molly's. I'm sure that's legit. So, I'm not against it. It's not my pour. I typically drink three things: water, green tea, and whiskey. So I don't go much off of that or deviate from that. But I'd be happy to try it. I'm not against gin.
Luke had his bottle up there. Let's see.
That's a pretty bottle.
That's
the other thing about gin. They always have like the prettiest bottles for gin.
Right.
Agree with that.
Like always, the prettiest bottles for gin.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's clear you have to do something to catch somebody's eye.
Yeah. Well, there's so many gins out there.
Yeah.
You gotta have a cool looking bottle.
All the botanicals, and then once again the Albarino grape, which is native to growing in the Galicia province in Spain. So I hope you guys give it a whirl.
All right, there you go. For gin for me, I'm a whiskey guy, so that's just what I drink. I'm not, and there's some that I find are tolerable and okay and taste pleasant, but I'm not really a cocktail person, so it's not really a neat drink thing. So it's just doesn't hit home with me. I just like.
What are you talking about? I've seen you drink so many fucking cocktails.
Not that I make
just
though.
like not really a cocktail guy.
Well, if I go out to a place, sure.
You drink hundreds of cocktails.
Well, yeah, I'm out.
I'm not a cocktail guy. Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I don't make
the Tiki
cocktails.
Man himself is not a cocktail guy.
I like cocktails made for me. Sure. But and then I'm gonna make. I don't get to go out very often, so then I'm going to get a whiskey cocktail because that's what I like. So, or a tiki cocktail, which is rum based typically. So
doesn't get to go out very often. Goes out like every night after work to his favorite brewery. Makes Amy drive. Makes her drink her fucking water instead of her sweet tea.
Yeah.
Steve's posted the whole time I work for Steve. All he did was post pictures of cocktails the entire time. Cocktail 1,
But I'm not
cocktail
making it.
2,
I'm not making them.
cocktail
It's
3, cocktail 4, on to 8 and 9.
Yeah.
Not a
way-
big cocktail person though, there, guys.
No.
Just so you're aware.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, just like Royce doesn't collect anything, it's the exact same thing as you say you're not a cocktail guy.
Well, come on now. Come on. And then Kathy Cool, I'm in a business with her, and we're getting our taxes done. The warden does our taxes, and Kathy Cool had to sign the paperwork, and Kathy said, "Oh, this is so nice of you to do this. Steve owes you 10 iced teas."
She did. I heard it.
Yeah.
I was like, that's going to be a problem.
Does not Kathy Cool also owe her 10 iced teas because she owns half the business? Or does Kathy owe her 5 and I owe her 5? Well, I don't understand how Kathy Cool says I owe her 10 iced teas because she did our taxes for Kathy and I. I don't understand this. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You owe money to your
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
Interesting how that works.
Yeah. All right. Darren, you asked the question.
Yeah, so I've been dabbling with gins, and this newest one from 630 that he released like right before the barrel pick I was on the other day there, and I tried it, and it reminds me a lot of actually Neely Absinthe, where yes, you get that juniper, but all the citrus that comes in behind it is just beautiful. It's called Mind Your Manners gin. It is easily one of the best gins I've ever had, and it's easy drinking, and I enjoyed drinking it. So that really is the one that finally opened my eyes. I've been trying to dabble in a while, and I found some that I tolerate, but I'm like, there's some exceptional stuff in this gin world that just
that's good.
Shout out.
Hey,
That's good.
Luke, have you tried that gin that's like it almost, the bottle looks like it's like there's almost nothing on it. It's like a really just clear, like hand blown glass decanter with the blue circle on it. Have you tried that one?
I've seen the bottle, Beka, but I have not tried it.
I almost bought it just because I thought it was such a pretty bottle.
Oh yeah, the amount of money that seemed like they spent on the bottling was just wow.
I really hope the product inside is really good because I do really want a bottle of it. But I don't know why I didn't buy it. I just didn't buy it. But that was like one of the more simple but just prettier bottles of gin that I've ever seen. So I just wonder if it was actually good or not. I just haven't tasted it.
Yeah, I
don't even know what it's called. I have no idea what the brand is even because it doesn't even like say it. It's like on the neck tag, I think.
Yeah,
but it doesn't say it on the bottle. It's just like this beautiful.
Yeah, it's
hand blown glass.
It's a non-assuming presentation. So
looks like art.
Yeah. It's like last year at the Wine and Spirits convention, Gene Simmons. He's involved in a vodka, and it's called Money Bags, and
of course.
Yeah. And they approached us and we talked to them, and it's a beautiful presentation too. It's a clear, it looks like a money bag, but it's clear. And I wish I had it here, but it's at the office. We turned them down just because, the vodka market's just so saturated. It's, there's no room for us to try. And we got the, I forgot what they're called, the KISS Army. Yeah. And well, that's good, but that doesn't continue buying. So,
right.
Yeah. I mean, so anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Well, on that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Looks like Darren's ready to go, so we'll start with him.
I have a bourbon finished in Madeira cask from Ardent Spirits.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. That was solid. So we'll see what happens with that. Nate's next.
I'm going to go with an Old Fitz fall of 2022 19-year-old bottle and bond. So
Whoa.
Nice.
I'll get this open here. I just got the new 2024 fall release the other day, so I'm excited to try that one as well.
He's been out on secondary.
No, that's at my local shop, Steve. Relationship.
I got him to talk over his own bottle pop there, so I got under his skin. He probably would have won that thing. It sounded like a good pop, but he was talking over it, so I got him.
Yeah.
It worked. I know how to push his buttons, and that's
Nate. That 19-year-old is incredible.
Oh yeah.
I drank all mine.
Well, there you go.
Good.
All right, Beka, you're next. Darren's
I've
got the lead.
some Larceny from A&B Liquor Store. 92 proof. I think a sticker on the back. I don't think I got this from like Wes Harden, maybe.
Really?
I don't really know. Bad Santa. Wanted Bad Santa for drinking damn good bourbon. I have no idea where this came from. Anyways.
Okay, decent, but not enough to pass Darren. He's still got the lead. Luke, you're next.
All right. I don't have the bottle of Bombergers that we're talking about. I have last year's release.
Okay.
I'm trying to save as much as I can for Beka when she gets here, but I don't know. I don't know if we're going to make it.
Okay. No, not enough to take the lead. Darren's got the lead. I still have yet to go, though. I've got Baker's 7 here, just the regular Baker's 7. Friend of Beka's, Baker Beam. So, let's see what we got.
Sounded good on or over here, anyways.
Does that sound like enough to do it, Beka?
I'm just going to say yes.
Well, there you go. There you go. I take the victory. So, cheers.
Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to be talking about PFG from Bombergers. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of Executive Bourbon Steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your Executive Bourbon Steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your Executive Bourbon Steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the awards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show. Bumpers are unscripted, so go ahead. All right, he's got the Terminator glasses on for inspiration. Go ahead, here we go.
I'll be back.
I'm not good at that, Steve. Come on.
And you're listening to The Bourbon Daily.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today we're talking about Bombergers.
Yes, we are. We know that I love Bombergers. It's always got that nice cherry note to it. And PFG is all the reviews note the cherry note to it, which is cool. So, but this one's special. So it's kind of like regular Bombergers on steroids is how I would describe it. So PFG stands for Precision Fine Grain. And they are got special barrels, all from France. That looks like they're in 1, 2, 3, 4 different forests in France that they're pulling these the wood from these barrels. They're leaving them out at least 40 months, air seasoning in France, before sending them over to turn into barrels. Comes in at 100.2 proof, $140 suggested retail, and it's been getting really good reviews. So bottle raters rated at 97, Whiskey Consensus 95, and Whiskey Wash 95 as well. So sounds like some really good stuff. I would expect nothing less from Michter's. I mean, they're kind of a class organization that does everything to the nth degree, you know. They're not going to do it or release it unless it's just perfection, and it sounds like that's what they got going in here. What do you guys think about that?
Especially for their limited release stuff, they never missed with one of those.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Like, I prefer Bombergers over Shanks as well, but it doesn't matter. Shanks is never bad whiskey. You're
Shanks
never
is still
disappointed
good, yes.
in one.
Yeah.
And I think every single release from them is that way. And that's kind of crazy for a newer company like that to just not miss on releases.
And especially, it's weird, right? Because they always get the cherry note. How are you sourcing and always manage to get a cherry note on it? So
I find myself in unfamiliar territory, agreeing with Darren.
No one ever does that. I'll go to the doctor, get that checked out.
But you know, I've not had a miss on Shanks or Bomberger, so I don't expect anything less on this one either. I mean, whatever they're doing, Steve, they're killing it.
Yeah, for sure. So Dan McKee, of course, their master distiller, a guy who can't believe that anybody even knows who he is. He's fantastic. That guy is the most humble person, isn't he, Beka? I mean, you've had that with him a couple times where he's like, you're like, hey, Dan. He's like, you know my name?
He was surprised
We all know your
when
name.
I ran up to him this was, I think, 2 years ago, at the Bourbon Festival. And I was like, Dan, like everything was getting packed up. And I was like, Dan, I ran up. And I was like, it's me, Beka. And he's like, well, yeah, of course I know who you are.
Right.
He's like, I didn't think you'd come and say hi to me. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He's like, well, I get nervous because I'm around, Beka. And I'm like, well, Beka's.
I'm like,
Dan.
I'm like, Dan, you're Dan McKee.
And he's like, well, everybody knows Beka.
I'm like, and he knows who I am because him and I podcasted. We did we did like an event together once during COVID. But I'm just like, what are you talking about? And I was just like, we got to get our photo together. And he's like, will you send me the photos? I'm like, yeah, of course, yes. But like, just the most humble distiller ever. Like, I mean, and just he's so sweet, and he like. I mean, just a great, nice guy. Yeah. And like one of the least like people love Michter's, but like no, I feel like he does not get as much appreciation as he should.
No, he should get more. Yeah, I agree. Cool dude. Nate, what do you think about this one? Are you interested in the Bomberger's PFG?
I am. I think I'll definitely give it a shot. At a minimum, at least have a pour of it, but maybe try and get a bottle of this one. Not as much anymore for everything, but this one piques my interest. I agree with everything said on Dan. I feel very fortunate to call him a friend, and he is one of the best people in whiskey. I was just talking to him the other day because he's coming out doing another event with 5280. We've done a few events with him, and he gets very nervous with public speaking.
Right.
Always kills it though.
Yeah.
He's just fantastic, and he's just so approachable. So he's definitely one of the nicest people. There's a lot of nice people.
Most humble is, I think, probably like
the
best word.
He's so humble. I agree, Beka. So yeah. I love that.
Said that like no one came up to him that year at the Bourbon Festival.
I know.
I think it was like 2 years ago, and he's like, yeah, like I didn't really like talk to very many people, and I'm like, what the fuck?
It's probably because he's trying to talk to people.
I think though, if you're at some of those festivals, you could have a lot of master distillers probably stand behind there, and I would say there's a large percent of people that don't even realize
Right.
who's there.
People who self-identify as big bourbon guys, that's always the worst term you can hear,
Yeah.
don't know who all the master distillers are and stuff. At a minimum, you should be able to know, from a company the size of Michter's, you should know who their master distiller
There's
is.
some of these people that you should know, and I guess maybe that's why so many of them get a little bit flamboyant with how they look. Because that's like the only way that you're gonna like realize maybe, you know, like
Get noticed.
you can't miss, you know, Aaron at Smoke Wagon. He's a pretty recognizable guy. And then,
Right.
you know, guys like
Macaulay
Jason Bronner
Mitten.
looks just like Aaron from Smoke Wagon, so like he'll at
Right.
least get mistaken for like
Yeah.
the same.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Somebody in the shop today did not know who the nose were. Like it just said the nose because I was talking about something, and they're like, "Is that a name I'm supposed to know?" I'm like, "Yeah, maybe."
Probably is.
Yeah.
If you're into bourbon,
She's involved in how many brands? The nose. So, yeah.
I mean, who is the most recognizable master distiller though? Because like, if you just saw one of these guys, if you just saw like Freddie No out in public, he's not
Right.
like
Yeah.
I do wonder
recognize-
if-
but like if
yeah.
you just saw like who is the like most recognizable one out in public?
That's a good question.
I wonder if it's still Jimmy Russell. It's always been Jimmy Russell, but you know, maybe the most famous one isn't even a distiller. It's Freddie Johnson. Probably, if you just got 100 bourbon fans together that said they're bourbon fans and just had pictures of people and say who this, I bet you Freddie Johnson
And if
gets
you put
recognized more than
random
anybody else.
people's pictures in there too,
Right.
like I'm
right.
talking about, if you put like a picture of like, you know, someone's grandpa, and then you also put, you know, Jimmy Russell there, like, are they gonna
Yeah.
go, oh, that's Jimmy Russell? They'll be like,
Yeah,
no,
I bet
that's
you they
my
might get that one wrong.
grandfather.
Right. They might get that one wrong.
But
But
Freddie
I think
Johnson-
Freddie Johnson's probably the most recognizable person in bourbon by look, by sight.
It's not Fletcher either. He kind of just blends in as a normal person, even though he runs a huge distillery.
Yeah,
Trying to think of another good answer. Aaron from Smoke Wagon's not a bad one if we want to
yeah,
count
but
him
if
as
you
a
took
master
off his
distiller.
hat and his glasses, then it's just Jason Bronner.
right.
In a
Jason
different font.
That's Jason Bronner.
If you
Who's that? Well, it's clearly Jason Bronner. Of course.
exactly,
Restaurateur Jason Bronner. Of course.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like a lot of these guys, they do have to be like at a bourbon event and like with their like bourbon shirt on to like. I think that Brent Elliott has a very recognizable face.
He does. He does.
But still,
But-
I've seen him at events just be ignored. People don't know it's him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
Yeah,
sat. It's 2019, the Kentucky Bourbon Affair, and it was Steve. I don't know if you were at that Michter's dinner, but Tony, your number one fan, and I sat next to Dan. We just sat next to Dan McKee, and he's just about to take over from Andrew, I guess.
Andrew Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah, and Tony said, "What's your name?" He goes, "I'm Dan McKee." I said, "Oh, what do you do?" He goes, "Oh, I'm the master distiller."
Oh, really? That's cool. I wonder who your master distiller from.
Yeah.
The event you're at here, Michter's.
Yeah.
I will say that because I am talking shit that people don't recognize master distillers. I have my own story if you want to hear it real quick.
Oh
Okay.
God.
Own branch.
I'm Fred. No, you jackass.
No, I definitely know Fred and Freddie, but no, I was at Limestone Branch during the Bourbon Festival. Steve Beam invited me and Fonte. They were having a dinner or luncheon kind of thing and tasting, and I was sitting there on a couch, and I was sitting next to this younger guy and his wife, and we were talking, and it ended up being Ian, the master distiller at MGP. And,
Yeah. Ian
did not-
Sturzman. Yeah.
did not recognize him.
Yeah.
First time I've ever met him in person. Now I would, but so yeah, I almost had one of those. Not as bad. I didn't say, "What do you do for a living?" That would have been really bad.
Right.
But I definitely was like not sure if he was a distributor or who he's with. I knew he was in the whiskey. And, yeah, that was so. I have him. So I,
That happened.
I mean, I was next to Donna Nally at that Icons event, and I didn't realize that she was a
Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Famer.
Kentucky Bourbon
yeah.
Hall. I was sitting there just like being annoying and making small talk with her. No clue who the fuck she was. I was
Becca.
I
Listen,
was,
bitch.
I
My
know, I
husband's
was, like,
up there.
literally-
He's kind of a big deal.
I was like just being annoying because she was kind of like She was, I don't want to say she's being dismissive of me because that makes it sound like she was being rude, but she wasn't. I just like kept on like talking to her, but she wasn't really trying to talk to anyone. And I just like kind of was making her be my friend, which is something that I do often. Like I made Michael Veach be my friend. And so I was like kind of forcing her to be my friend, and we are just sitting there chatting. And then they're like, "Oh, and we're so lucky to have Don and Allie here, another Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Famer." And I'm like, "Yeah,
She looks over the lady I was talking
we're lucky." And I like I didn't want to like say anything after the fact because I was like, I'm gonna look like a dumbass. I'm the wife of one of the master distillers up here, and I don't even know who the fuck I'm sitting next to.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Stephen Beam's another one that's very recognizable. I think
Oh,
he's in every video that Yellowstone releases. He's in all of that. Like you see his face being pushed
distinctive look, distinctive voice. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
That could be the answer. Stephen Beam.
Stephen Beam's up there. Yeah.
Mike Veach stands out in a crowd. I'll say that much.
This is true. True. You might not know who Mike Veach is, but you know he's somebody because he's got the look. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When he's walking down, I saw him on Bourbon Street the first year I went, and I was just drunk with I think
Got his
McNew
hat on
and with
and
Phil,
a pipe.
and I'm just like, Veach, screaming at him from across the street, and he's like,
Veach. That's
just
perfect.
screaming at him across the French Quarter. He has no idea who the fuck I am.
Did he like take off sprinting the other way? Like, nope.
No, he
Well,
didn't.
as much as he can sprint, yeah.
He just waved, and now he's like, "Oh, he put his hat on me now," and he said I need to come and have a drink on his porch. So
Yeah.
There you
You
Yeah.
go.
haven't done that
people to
yet?
be your
You haven't
friend.
drank on his porch yet? You need to get there.
we haven't gotten down there. We need to.
Royce has been there, so he's been at the porch. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. He just left you at home.
Yep, that's the story of my life.
Yeah, it's cool. Then you get to go visit his office too, which is cool. It's like, he's like an old time bourbon writer. I mean, he's modern, he's contemporary, he's still working, but you go into like his office and it's like a typewriter and whiskey that he's been drinking and things he's working on. It's cool. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So, yeah, definitely work your way into getting there.
Sooner than later.
Drink on the porch. Nate, you been there drinking on the porch?
I have not been there to drink on the porch, but I was going to say, speaking of drinking on the porch, in Bardstown, so Drew, master distiller at Willett, has his place right there. A lot of times he'll be out smoking a cigar or whatnot, but he is one of the most, I think, a lot of times people don't recognize him.
Right.
Because
He's pretty elusive. Yeah, he doesn't like the spotlight.
No, and he eats lunch at the restaurant at Willett, like on a route. Every time I've been there, he's there up at the counter just eating by himself. I don't think a lot of people realize, everyone's all Willett geeked out and whatever. And
Right.
he's been very friendly when him, and a very cool dude. Very humble, another very humble person that doesn't want to get in the spotlight, but I don't think people ever recognize him. And he's sitting right there in the distillery restaurant where people are, at Willett. Many times I've seen that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, though. And it's kind of surprising how nice he is because you assume, like, if I request, which I've done many times to interview him on the show, he won't do it. He's not interested in that, doesn't need it, doesn't want it. But then I've met him at the distillery and nothing but a likable guy. I mean, really, really a nice guy. Goes out his way to help you, showed us some things, you think, well, he's going to be standoffish. He doesn't want to come on the show. No, that's not what he wants to do. Doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Doesn't mean anything other than he doesn't want to do podcasts and stuff. Who cares? It's just make great whiskey and be a nice person. Well, you gotta like that, respect that. So yeah.
I feel like there's several distillers like that don't want to be the main focus, right? Like they want you to enjoy their whiskey, and that's all the compliments they need, right? Like they don't need to be in the forefront.
Harlan Wheatley, for example.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, I could not pick him out of the lineup. I've been thinking that this whole time. I don't know what he looks like.
Oh, he's distinctive looking. Yeah. Luke, what were you going to say?
I was about to say, just to add on to what Nate was saying, ever since we started courting them back in 2016, Britt and Drew and Evan, they've all just been so kind to us because once again, we're probably their smallest distributor in the whole system of theirs, and they just treat us like we're one of the biggest. And we don't ask for that.
They're good to you. You had no track record then either, Luke. I mean, now you do. You got a great portfolio, but you didn't have any other whiskey brands or stuff like that. So they took a huge leap of faith going with you there. So it's cool. That's a great relationship.
And Drew's been so good to us on our barrel picks and continues to be. So yeah, I have nothing but good things to say about them. But you're right. He's very non-assuming. Just wants everyone to enjoy the whiskey.
Yeah. And giving too. I mean, my God, how many times does Willett step up when there's a charity or something like that? They're donating barrels that, they can sell for thousands and thousands of dollars, or donating it to help a good cause. I mean, they're good people for sure.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Darren, we're going to start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at the Bourbon Adventures.
Luke?
You can find me, find us at Santa Fe Boutique Wines on Instagram and find me on LinkedIn.
Okay, Nate?
You can find me on Instagram at 5280 Whiskey or Hidden Barn Whiskey. And if you can find my Facebook page, I do have a Facebook page out there as well.
He may follow you back. We'll see. Miss Beka Sue?
You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Miss Beka Sue, and you can find me at the distillery, which on occasion people find me at the distillery. That is Neely Family Distillery in Sparta, Kentucky.
Whoa, that's a celebrity sighting.
I had someone show up the other day. They waited for me for an hour to get my signature, and
that was awkward.
I thought that they had gotten everyone's signature from the distillery, and that's why they were just waiting for mine. And we were driving back down from Cincinnati, and they waited an hour, and I got there, and I said, thanks for waiting, and I signed their absinthe bottle, and I was like, do you guys have Royce's signature? And they're like, no.
Who's that guy? Yeah.
And it was a little bit nonchalant, and I was like, well, we should get that too, and so we signed it, and I said,
he's okay.
Let's go get a photo, and we took a photo, and we saw they had a 10th Mountain sticker on the back of their phone, and we're like, oh yeah, you guys know them? I said, I podcast them all the time.
Yeah.
And it turned out they listened to the show.
That's awesome.
I was like, oh, awesome. So thanks for waiting for me at the distillery. That was really nice.
Very cool. All right, for me, I'm an easy guy to find at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website, abvnetwork.com. Check that one out. Everything that we do is out there. Also, come by and see us, the ABV Barrel Shop. You never know what's going to be there or who's going to be there. So follow us online at abvbarrelshop.com. Miss Beka Sue, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd just like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. If you like what we're doing, we ask you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
Later.
Bye, y'all.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you're in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.